Where are we going now, people?
We're going to a 4-star toilet. 4-star, you get me?
We made our way finally to a 4-star toilet, which had a little sign outside it saying like certified 4 stars. Still smelled like piss inside there.
I'm Thomas.
I'm Tim, and we're traveling around the world from city to city.
For each city we visit, we make contact with a local, a complete stranger to us, but someone who loves their city and wants to share that with us.
We're on a mission to find out what cities mean to the people who live in them.
It's a show about
People,
cities,
traveling,
culture,
food,
day life,
music,
nightlife,
and everything in between.
This is my city.
The city, that's where we belong.
We arrived in Beijing on a Wednesday afternoon, late afternoon. We were a bit wrecked. We'd been flying all night.
There seems to be some sort of crazy fog covering everything.
It's that well-known Beijing smog fog, which apparently is a combination of the climate there and pollution.
Beijing is the cultural center, as well as the capital city of China. It's also the second largest city, with a population of 17 million people. So, yeah, it's massive.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
We're just about to meet Lin Lin. Very excited. She owns a design company called Jellyman, which has offices in Shanghai and Beijing. I feel like she's well known around town. She's a character, she's a firecracker. She speaks English in a very hot British accent.
I'm a different kind of lady, you get me?
I think this is going to be a fantastic weekend. Fantastic.
We're gonna tag along with some tour groups in the Forbidden City, meet her Mixed Master Champion friend DJ Wordy. We're gonna cruise around on some bikes, eat tons of good food, maybe a bit of dancing, and probably very little sleeping.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers, mate.
So we met up with Lin Lin in the Sanlitun district, which is one of Beijing's newer nightlife areas.
So basically this, like 5-6 years ago, it's kind of hardly anyone here. But then they now develop into like a bar street. So we're going to check out this little bar that my friend opened up.
She took us to D Lounge, which was quite the upscale establishment.
I think it was kind of like, hello fancy Beijing, hello cocktails, hello money. We're going to get a kind of a luxurious version of this town.
This weekend is going to just get better, I promise.
We immediately got a sense of how popular she is.
The owner of the bar was very much taking care of her. She was wearing jean shorts that were about this long.
Lin Lin got really drunk really quickly because she's a tiny Asian girl, and that's what happens to tiny Asian girls. She said it herself though, she can handle about 1 drink and then she has to go home. And her boyfriend showed up and took her home.
Thomas, you're real tall.
So she left us in the hands of her friend Shona.
Are you sure you guys want to go home now?
Maybe we should do something else.
Let's go for supper.
All right,
Are you
supper.
guys hungry?
Yes.
Sean took us to the late night supper spot, which is this really huge, blinged out building in the middle of nowhere, really.
We went in there and gorged ourselves on chicken feet and dim sum.
We had a bunch of food. We had dumplings that had like little ball sacks of soup in them. It was dangerous. You bite into it and soup just goes flying out of it.
That was definitely one of the more epic late night feasts we've had on this trip. It felt like we were in really good hands and I was really looking forward to the weekend ahead. Friday, we went to the Forbidden City. Lin Lin said it's one thing you have to see when you're in Beijing. First thing we saw were 2 teenagers making out like crazy on this bench.
Isn't that great? You come to the Forbidden City and you're making out. It's amazing.
Then we wandered onwards and the palace opens up the further you go into it. There are these huge squares with buildings in the center.
It was really interesting walking around with a 6'8" Thomas Boyd and a 5 tall, really spunky looking Chinese girl. People would stare at her just because the way that she walks and dresses, and people loved you because you're so tall.
They would look from like down there to like up there and they'd be like, what? And then they'd ask for a picture.
Lin Lin would basically hang with a tour group for a little bit and get a little bit of the history and then translate the history to us.
This place is where the emperor, at the end of the day, he decides which concubine that he wants to go for. And basically the girls will be brought to like one of the rooms to clean up. She will be completely naked, her hair down, and will be wrapped in a blanket.
The various emperors who lived in the Forbidden City, they really seem to take care of themselves. Beautiful gardens, beautiful squares, lots of women. It's really like the height of luxury.
After we left the Forbidden City, we went to get a late lunch.
We're about to get in the small bread van taxi. Lin Lin, I think, thought it would be amusing that we take the tiniest little van cab that you could find to the restaurant, which is actually really far away. There's all sorts of kind of modes of transport in China. A lot of people go around on bicycles, some people go around on motorized bicycles. There's like bikes with little lorries on the back so you can carry everything you own. And then there's like motorized vehicles with seats. And this was basically like a miniature van, which fits 2 people maximum. So we all squeezed into this thing, and I don't know how we fit. Lin was on your lap.
It actually meant for 2 small people and not for someone like Thomas. Really.
I'm not really meant for China.
You're like 1.5, but lucky that I'm kind of half, so we kind of fit in, okay?
It works out.
It works out, right?
Man.
How was that?
Oh, it was good, but my ass hurts a little bit. That was a great way to get around. He was a fearless driver.
On the way to the restaurant, Lin Lin stopped by this street vendor and made us try this really tasty sweet potato.
We can wait. I don't need. Okay. Thank you.
We went and had Peking Duck at Dadong.
National special grade restaurant for the best Peking duck around, apparently.
It's always exciting to have something you love in the country that actually invented it. It's just a perfect combination of hoisin sauce, cucumber, scallion, and duck. And you make a little roll out of it and you put it in your mouth. Amazing.
I love Peking duck.
Hey, you know duck in Chinese is like yazi. It also means male prostitute.
I love a male prostitute.
Me too.
Then we took a little break, and we made plans to meet Lin Lin later for dinner.
Friday night was a bit of a blur. We met Lin Lin and her friend Jin Jin at Yangtongguan, this local restaurant known for its lamb curry. And we ate a ton of food there. The dishes just kept coming. There was like beef stomach, 1,000-year-old egg, lamb curry, medicinal wine, Mongolian spirits. Cheers.
Don't drink too much.
It was delicious.
But that seems to be a tradition as well in China. When we ate with a family later in the trip, they said that it's quite traditional to always make more food than you can eat because it gives off the impression that there's plenty of food to go around. So I'm okay with that.
We're going to a pumpkin curry.
Lin Lin's boyfriend, Max, is part owner of this bar, and they were having a soft opening. I've never been to a soft opening before. I don't know what a hard opening is. I just go to places when they're open. Lin Lin invited 2 of her friends out, and Mei Li, who was a makeup stylist, and then Christine came out, who was a boxing enthusiast. She was very attractive. I was like, oh, this girl's hot.
Cheers, everyone.
And from there, we went to Bed Bar, which was having a huge reggae night. It was packed, man. That party was going off when we got there. I kind of put a little bit of attention towards Christine. Bed was kind of dying down. It was really smoky in there. And so she wanted to take me to some other club. On the way there, I was like, I don't really need to go out anymore. She's like, yeah, me neither. You want to come to my place? I was like, all right. We opened a bottle of red wine, and we just chatted for a while, flirted for a bit. One thing led to another, and we took a bath together. None of this can go in the show. We can't put this in the show. I can't say any of this stuff. I just want to remember this later when I'm like 80. It's Saturday? Saturday in Beijing. We just got our trusty bikes from our hotel. We're gonna start cruising around. But this seems to be one of the best ways to travel. People take it nice and slow and cash.
So we cycled mostly through Hutongs, which are these classic Beijing neighborhoods made up of narrow alleyways and dilapidated houses. There's a really vibrant, living street culture in the Hutongs. Tons of people out in the streets, loads of bike traffic. You get a glimpse, I think, of what life was like in old Beijing.
Eventually, we met up with Lin Lin on her bike.
We already knew Lin Lin's personality, but seeing her on her bike was just a whole different ballgame, man.
Where are we going, Lin Lin?
We are going to the back street of Central Business District.
We basically cycled not too far to the CBD, which is very new. It has tons of skyscrapers and office towers. Basically, when it was all being built, there was this one street that they didn't bulldoze. On that street, there's all these little noodle bars, and all the construction workers used to eat there.
I like this back street because it's kind of hidden. Look, that is a Red Bull building, and there is the Twin Tower on this side. I want to take you here to a little family restaurant. They make their own noodles and dumplings. This one is pork and pak choy. This one is chive and egg.
Yummy!
Yummy!
Maybe the best dumpling I've ever had.
Wow.
Lin Lin likes to eat there because she thinks it's kind of untouched and it's old China, right in the middle of new China. There were lots of plans ahead of us, so we thought we'd leave our bikes at Lin Lin's studio. And then we took a cab to meet DJ Wordy at his studio space.
Taxi!
DJ Wordy is a 3-time DMC scratch champion.
A lot of people consider him one of the top DJs in all of China, so we really wanted to hear him play.
We are at Wordy's studio, and he just come back from touring in Europe.
Are you ready for the one and only DJ Wordy?
Essentially, we just sat in this room with one of the best DJs in China, and he basically mixed a private session for us for about 3 hours. It's really hard to explain how badass that was.
Testing my skills. Testing my skills.
It's very special to actually get in private company with like a world-class DJ and watch him like mess around.
DJ Wordy, you know what I'm saying?
Man, I just want to relive that moment over and over and over again because it was the best. It was the best time. And that's how we started the night.
We went to a restaurant which was DJ Wordy's choice, which is called The Great. It was in a Hutong, and I was excited because I wanted to go to like a really traditional Hutong restaurant. And we were gonna have hot pot. We had like 4 courses, I think, before the soup even arrived.
This is deep fried rice mochi with sesame inside.
And DJ Wordy and Lin Lin were explaining each course in detail to us.
No, that is a sausage in this guy. It's also sausage. No, this is liver.
Hot pot is very well known in Beijing. It's basically a giant soup. In it goes like vegetables and tofu and spices and a fish, a giant fish.
It's a huge fish. We're gonna eat that. Hot pot, man. Everything.
The food there was just phenomenal, and it was good just hanging with Wordy and Lin Lin.
Best food actually we had in Beijing was at The Great, which was great. The evening was moving along nicely and there were great plans ahead. We were on our way to a gig at Yugong Yishan.
We're at Yugong Yishan, most famous live venue in Beijing.
Who are we here to see?
Right now, today, Tux Avenger. Yeah, from Paris.
All right.
That venue was awesome. It was the perfect size, it had a really fun crowd, had a sweet upstairs lounge area, good sound system, pretty much everything you want.
A bunch of friends of DJ Wordy were DJing. The person who played before Toxic Avenger was this DJ Reggie, and he was terrific. There was a bit of dancing, which is good because there hasn't been that much dancing on this trip, and I like a bit of a dance. Yeah, we let loose, had a bit of a laugh. Lin Lin was strutting her stuff for the whole club. All in all, a good time. Mei Li showed up at some point and she insisted that we all go to this super exclusive party.
So we said goodbye to DJ Wordy and took off for this party, which was in a 7-star hotel.
I had never heard of a 7-star hotel. I thought peaked at 5. I don't even know where 6 was. It just like surpassed 6 and went right to 7.
We are at Pangu. Pangu is a hotel that built during the Olympics for the Olympics and just for millionaires who has nothing to do and come here and chill, and actually it's a very private hotel.
It was super exclusive apparently, and we got there and it was in this crazy penthouse with a swimming pool and Beijing's fanciest and finest. It was very luxurious and lush and pretty amusing that we'd found ourselves in this situation. We were just having a laugh and kind of having a lot of fun with Lin Lin and the girls.
I remember at one point saw you and Lin Lin were sitting in this really nice room by yourselves.
She opened this like cabinet which was between us, and it was full of cigars, and I was like, oh my god, cigars! So I just kind of went to take 2, and she was like, listen, take them, but like just keep them hidden. Then I totally got caught with them because I'm like, look at my cigars! Yeah, so we got kicked out of there.
What's the rest of the evening?
We're going to see the flag being raised in Tiananmen Square.
Do you think you have it in you?
Of course I have it in me.
Lin Lin at that point called it a night. I think she was pretty much spent. We have stamina that's hard to compete with, so.
Saturday was a day where the momentum took over, and one good thing just led to another. It's one of those rare days where you just don't want it to end, so you just keep pushing it and pushing it. It finally does end, and it's usually at dawn. And this one was a uniquely Chinese dawn. Every day at 6 in the morning, they raised the flag for the People's Republic of China in Tiananmen Square.
When we got there was already a huge queue of people waiting to get into the square. The line was massive.
It was never ending.
Never ending line. It was just Chinese people, all as far as the eye can see.
We're trying to find the end of the queue to line up to get into the flag ceremony, because we're here now and we're not going to go home. So we finally got in. I suppose it was about 6 o'clock. We got led into Tiananmen Square together with 3,000 people. Made our way to a barrier, which was where you could watch the flag from.
It's beautiful.
What's amazing is that a crowd this massive gathers there every single morning.
This was an event.
When you've got a country of 1 billion people, you've got to think that like everything that happens is going to attract a crowd.
You know? That's 1 billion people.
We decided to call it, put an end to an epic day.
This is the way into our hotel to the locked in. So you have to come up this roof.
Why don't you just let me in?
I'll try and let you in.
Alright.
On Sunday, Lin Lin took us to Kaohsiung-di, which is the emerging contemporary art district in Beijing. She took us there, I think, because she wanted to show us how the art scene is taking off in China at the moment. And also because she's a creative person, and this is one of the places she gets her inspiration. From there, Lin Lin took us to her design company, Jellyman, to show us some of her work and tell us a bit more about what she does.
China has a lot of talented people that I'm very lucky to encounter. One day I really want to like someone look at a like product or something and say, oh, it's made in China and designed by China, and not just say, hey, this is made in China and designed by someone like Danish or German.
It's cool to see a designer who's like got a great eye and a good design sense, but is also like got a message that they want to share with the world.
I just want to express sort of China point of view in a modern way, that we no longer just design to feed the Western market, but I design for Chinese people.
Man, she's just badass. It's like nice to aspire to be like that. So then we had to cycle home, and it was actually really nice. It was a little wet and it was a little cold, which meant there was no one on the streets. It's always a nice, relaxing way to see a city.
It's always nice to be on a bicycle at nighttime, finding our own way around. I guess it's just one of those moments where you're like, traveling is amazing, and it's great to see the world.
The following morning, we woke up to a rare Beijing snowfall. Before we left China, we took Lin Lin's recommendation and went to visit the Temple of Heaven.
It's quite impressive.
Beijing was really atmospheric, and being there we really got a sense of how old the city is. From the vast squares and parks and lakes to the tiny winding streets in the Hutongs. I think the blanket of fog smog over everything gave it quite a bleak vibe, but it also made it feel quite mysterious and otherworldly.
Beijing was an epic weekend. It was just non-stop action, just going from one party to the next, meeting a lot of great people, eating tons of good food. I was actually surprised at how amazing the food was there. And then of course there was Lin Lin.
She was really open to us, and someone that's constantly really fun, always speaks her mind, always looks really good.
Beijing was Lin Lin, really, when it comes down to it. She really took the weekend in her charge and showed us a really, really interesting time, which had some glitz and some glamour and some socializing and some partying and some fabulousness. But then it also had the local scene and some really cheap working class joints. She showed us kind of a really nice, really well-balanced experience. China's a big place, an important place. Certainly all eyes are on China. And it's nice to see a little bit better what it's all about.